In this lesson, we will focus on the essential aspects of project planning within the context of a Java programming capstone project. Project planning is a critical phase that sets the foundation for a successful development process. By clearly defining objectives and requirements, you can ensure that your project is well organized and meets the desired goals. Don't worry if this feels new at first. Now we're on defining project objectives. Project objectives are specific goals that you want to achieve by the end of your project. They guide the development process and help you to stay focused on what's important. When defining your project objectives, consider the following. You'll see a few items listed here. First, specific. Objectives should be clear and specific, avoiding vague language. Next, measurable. You should be able to track progress and determine when an objective has been achieved. Also, achievable. Ensure that the objectives are realistic and attainable within the project's constraints. Take a moment to read the rest on screen. Identifying project requirements, let's dig in. Once you have defined your project objectives, the next step is to identify the project requirements. Requirements outline what the project must achieve and the resources needed to complete it. There are two main types of requirements. First, functional requirements. These specify what the system should do. For example, if you're developing a task management application, a functional requirement might be users must be able to create, edit, and delete tasks. Next, non-functional requirements. These describe how the system performs a function, such as performance, usability, and reliability. An example of a non-functional requirement could be, the application should load within 2 seconds. Let's move on to creating a project scope statement. A project scope statement is a crucial document that outlines the boundaries of the project. It includes the objectives, deliverables, and the work required to complete the project. A well-defined scope helps prevent scope creep, which can derail your project. Here's a simple structure for a project scope statement. The samples on screen walk through this step. Take a moment to read through them. Now, developing a timeline and milestones. A timeline outlines when each task or phase of the project will be completed. It's important to set milestones to track progress and ensure that the project stays on schedule. Here's how to create a basic project timeline. Let's walk through the main points. First, list all tasks required to complete the project. Next, estimate the time required for each task. Then, determine dependencies between tasks. Which tasks must be completed before others can start. The full list is on the slide if you want to review it. For example, if your project involves developing a task management application, your timeline might look like this. See the example on this slide. Pause if you want to study the details. This section covers documenting and communicating your plan. Once you have defined your objectives, requirements, and timelines, it's essential to document your plan thoroughly. This documentation serves as a reference point throughout the project and can be shared with team members or stakeholders. Use tools like Google Docs, Microsoft Word, or project management software to keep everything organized and accessible. Regular communication with your team is also vital to ensure everyone is on the same page and to address any issues that arise during the project. In this lesson, we covered the key components of project planning, including let's walk through the main points. First, defining clear and measurable project objectives. Next, identifying functional and non-functional requirements. Also, creating a project scope statement to outline the project boundaries. The full list is on the slide if you want to review it. With these components in place, you're well on your way to a successful Java programming capstone project. Alright, your turn. Give this a try. There are several points on this slide. First, define 3 specific objectives for your Java programming capstone project. Next, identify at least 5 functional and non-functional requirements. Also, create a simple project scope statement using the template provided. Check the slide for the remaining items.